The Hototo mangrove provides food, shelter, and spiritual symbolism to the people of Alban Island. And to the many creatures that call the northwestern coast of the island home, life without the Hototo would be simply impossible. Hello, and welcome to Project Boliad, where today I have designed a food web for this specific coastal island ecosystem, and I would love to show it to you. Sunlight grows the Hototo. The Hototo's fruit and detritus are eaten by the Uwapueta. The Uwapueta is then ripped apart and digested by the Chiki. The Chiki and Uwapueta are devoured by the Tatea and the Chiki. The Tatea's eggs and the fruit of the mangrove are then consumed by the Manateag, and the Manateag and Chiki are annihilated by the Tatasiuga's powerful stomach. Without further ado, let's get into how I designed the creatures of this fictional food web. If you could for a second imagine a beach that has crystalline blue, shallow waters stretching for miles off the coast. It's idyllic, and every once in a while there are these very tall mangrove trees, sometimes clustered together, sometimes standing in the shallows all alone. This ecosystem is called the Uwagas by the natives, and it is Alban Island's northwestern coast. Like nearly all observable food webs on the planet of Boliad, we start with the sun, rising high overhead. The Hototo gets to work, using its leafy fronds to soak all of that delicious sun right up. Its fruit grows ripe, and with a series of snaps and splashes, the Hauta fruit are now sinking to the bottom of the sandy and endless shoal, where we meet our first animal, the Uwapueta. These creatures are small, prolific breeders that riddle the waters here. If you wade in and scoop up the water, you will inevitably grab a handful that is laced with Uwapueta. At first, they can be so small it's hard to see with the unaided eye, but as they grow older, they get larger and larger. Much like lobsters in the real world, they don't stop growing as they age. They just get eaten, and eaten they will be. Uwapueta are consumed by 3 separate predators. The inspiration for this creature was found in the artwork of Ernst Haeckel, a German marine biologist and artist who made the most beautifully psychedelic, detailed, geometric illustrations of animals. The complexity in his forms was too much not to be inspired. The Uwapueta is a thimble in comparison. The Uwapueta is then eaten by the next animal, the Chiki. Alright, with this one I must confess, this animal is perhaps my laziest design of the night, but you know what? They can't all be amazing, right? In my mind, Boliad is like Earth, but a few degrees off, and if so, that means there will be some creatures I design that must be mundane. If I had to be specific, though, about my inspiration, I would say that if the real-world common bleakfish, which is, look at it, the most fishy fish to ever fish, and the barracuda had a baby, it would be Alban Island's common spitfish, known unto the locals as the Chiki. It exists to eat Uwapuetas and itself be eaten by Tateas, which is our next animal. This red-headed bird is based on 2 real-world animals as well, Hawaii's Iiwi and a wandering albatross. The feathers that these birds leave behind have been used by locals to make Tatea feather capes, which have a practical use in keeping the sun off the backs of workers, as well as a ceremonial purpose of symbolizing a boy's step into adulthood, as he is only allowed to wear it once it has been gifted. This bird eats both the Chiki and the Uwapueta, as well as the Hauta fruit from the Hototo. We then move to the Chiki, which eats the Chiki and Uwapueta as well. This creature's eyes are very primitive and perhaps the most interesting thing about them. These bulbs are punctuated by light-sensitive holes that can tell only the direction of light. They cannot see color or form very well, if at all. Again, only light and shadow. This sometimes works great, but the Chiki is easily tricked by very still movements. Moving laterally on the same trophic level still, we get to the Manateag, a large monkey with a huge brain encased by a clear skull. I'm sure you're wondering why that is. Well, this is a very rare case of a magic-wielding species. The brain holds magicules, the building blocks of magic. Sunlight hitting the brain allows the magicules stored here to be activated and sent to work through the nervous system. The magicules are then emitted from the hands and feet, where they work to immediately tighten the water touching the hands and feet. This makes it so that the Manateag can actually walk or run across water. However, doing this leaves the Manateag exposed and very vulnerable. I want to take a second to stop and remind you that if you have enjoyed anything you have seen here today, please check out the website where you can read and see even more about everything discussed here or in a previous video. And so, we reach the last animal, this ecosystem's apex predator, the king of Alban Island's coasts, the terrifying Tatasiuga. This beast eats Chiki by slowly creeping up behind them. It does this by walking itself with its arm-like appendages, not moving a single fin. The Chiki can't tell if it's a cloud overhead or dusk creeping in. The arms of the Uga, once in position, spring forward with incredible speed. The Chiki doesn't stand a chance. The Manateag we mentioned earlier skitters across the water only if it must move to a new Hototo. It dreads doing so as it knows something lurks in the shadows of the sandbar. The Tatasiuga's arms can allow for a powerful jump up and out of the water. As the Manateag runs for the next Hototo, the Uga again waits in position and, when just right, snaps its jaws up and onto the animal's body, bringing the pained hoots and hollers of this primate to silence as the Manateag is abruptly pulled under the waves. The design of this monster, if you couldn't tell, was inspired by the Dunkleosteus, a Devonian period demon. The Tatasiuga's armor, however, is not bone or cartilage like the Dunkleosteus, but instead a crustacean-like exoskeleton. Let me explain. The researchers of Boliad believe that the armor was at one point a separate species of animal entirely. At first, millions of years ago, some kind of cleaning-based symbiotic relationship must have taken place. Over time, the two creatures would have had to evolve increasingly dependent upon each other until we get to today, where the two have fused on the cellular level, making one creature. And with that, we have concluded our visit of Alban Island. If you enjoyed, leave a like and consider subscribing. Till next time, friends, peace.